It was a warm summer morning when Sarah, her husband Michael, and their little daughter Lily boarded the grand cruise ship the Golden Wave. They had saved money for 2 years for this vacation. Sarah had always dreamed of sailing across the ocean, watching sunsets with her family, and feeling the salty wind in her hair. Michael, a quiet but loving man, was excited too. Lily, only 6 years old, had never seen the ocean before. Her eyes sparkled with joy as she ran around the deck, pointing at the endless blue water. The ship was massive, like a floating city, with restaurants, theaters, pools, and even a small zoo. Sarah felt like they had entered a dream. For the first few days, everything was perfect. They played games, ate delicious food, danced during music nights, and watched the stars together. Michael was unusually cheerful. He held Sarah's hand more often, smiled at strangers, and spent hours playing with Lily. Sarah noticed a change, but thought it was just the vacation magic. But on the 5th night, something changed. They had dinner together in a fancy restaurant on the ship. After dessert, Michael told Sarah he would take Lily for a walk while she relaxed in the lounge. Sarah trusted him completely. She stayed back, listening to soft music, her eyes closing in peace. But when she returned to their room 2 hours later, it was empty. At first, she thought they were still out. She waited an hour. Then, too, panic started to rise in her chest. She went looking. She asked the staff. They checked the play areas, the deck, the pools, and even the cabins. But no sign of Michael or Lily. Sarah screamed. She cried. She begged the captain to make an announcement. They did. Still nothing. They stopped the ship. The crew searched every corner. Cameras were checked. But somehow, the footage from that hour was missing. No one had seen Michael or Lily leave. No one had heard anything. Sarah collapsed. Her world broke. When the ship returned to the port, there was a full investigation. Police, Coast Guards, detectives all tried to find them. But no clues, no signs. It was like they had disappeared into thin air. Some people whispered strange theories. Maybe they fell overboard. Maybe it was an accident. Or maybe something darker. But Sarah didn't believe any of that. She knew Michael. He loved Lily too much to let anything happen to her. Something was wrong. Something was hidden. Months passed. Then years. Sarah couldn't move on. She stopped working. She visited the police every week. She searched online, joined forums, and even hired private detectives. But nothing came up. Everyone around her said she needed to accept it, let go, and live again. But she couldn't. How could a mother let go of her child? 7 years later, on a rainy afternoon, Sarah was walking back from a job interview. She had started trying to rebuild her life, piece by piece. She still carried Lily's small photo in her wallet, worn out but cherished. She passed a small alley in an old part of the city. It was dirty, dark, and filled with shadows. But something made her stop. There was a soft voice, like a whisper, echoing the rain. A girl's voice. "Mama?" Sarah froze. Her heart stopped. That voice, it felt like Lily's. She turned toward the alley. It was narrow, and at the end there was a small, broken door. She walked slowly, every step filled with fear and hope. She pushed open the door. Inside was a tiny room, dusty and cold, with a single chair and a small light. And there, standing in the corner, was a teenage girl. She had the same curly brown hair, the same big eyes. She was older now, taller, but Sarah knew. A mother always knows. "Lily?" she whispered, her voice trembling. The girl turned, her eyes filled with tears. "Mama?" Sarah ran and hugged her. They both cried, their hearts breaking and healing at the same time. After years of pain, Sarah finally held her daughter again, but there was something strange in Lily's eyes. A shadow, fear. Sarah asked, "Where have you been? What happened?" Lily hesitated. Then she spoke, slowly, carefully, like she had been trained to forget. "Daddy took me away." Sarah's heart dropped. "Michael?" Lily continued. "He said you were gone, that you left us. We lived in many places, sometimes in boats, sometimes in cabins. He told me to never talk to anyone. He said if I did, they'd take me away." Sarah's mind spun. Why would Michael do that? What had happened? Lily looked at her. But he changed, Mama. He started acting scared. He talked to strange people. He said they were watching us. Last week, he left me here and said he'd come back, but he didn't. Sarah hugged her tight. You're safe now. I'll never let you go again. The police came. Investigations reopened. They found Michael 3 days later, in a quiet village by the sea. He was weak, sick, and mentally unstable. He had been hiding for years, running from something. But what? Slowly, the truth came out. Michael had been approached by a secret group before the cruise. They offered him money to deliver a package on the ship. He agreed, thinking it was harmless. But it wasn't. The package was illegal, dangerous. When Michael realized what it had done, he panicked. He tried to escape with Lily, afraid the group would hurt them both. That night on the cruise, he faked their disappearance. He disabled the cameras, used a crew uniform to sneak out, and hid in a small service boat. They lived like ghosts, always hiding, always afraid. Michael cried when he saw Sarah again. I thought I was saving her, he said. I thought I could fix it. I didn't know how to come back. Sarah forgave him, slowly, not because he deserved it, but because Lily needed peace. The law took its course, but Sarah and Lily were finally free. Years later, when people asked Lily about those lost years, she would say, I don't remember much, just fear and my father's eyes always watching the door. But I remember my mother's hug in that alley. That's when I knew I was home. And Sarah, every time she passed that alley, would stop, close her eyes, and smile. Because sometimes, even in the darkest corners of the world, love finds its way back.